Hello, welcome back to our session on Salesforce Financial Services Cloud. So we hope that you've been following the past two sessions and able to get an understanding on what financial services is, or what are some common challenges that companies face in the financial industry with regard to technical requirements, as well as what are some key features or like the top five reasons as to why one would select Financial Services Cloud. So let's jump into our last segment for today, where I will be walking you through what are the verticals that's covered in Financial Services Cloud, and mainly a walk through some of the top features which I feel are what gives this cloud an edge over like your traditional sales or services cloud.
The first one is client and household profiles. So now Financial Services Cloud comes with something called as the household profile feature. So what this means is like now, unlike your typical, let's say, sales and service cloud where we have like contacts and then accounts, or like, you have like multiple contacts to one account. Here it's slightly more complex. So think of it like in a household or a home. So you would have multiple members. Each member would have multiple like bank accounts, they would have investments, they would have joint accounts, etc. So because of this, it is a pretty complex relationship. And for that, you have this particular thing called as a household feature. So using this, let's say financial advisor or an agent, when they see the whole relationship, they can quickly then make decisions, or they can give information or suggest financial plans. So for example, I've said, like, let's say look at Matthew, and let's say Matthew's daughter is about to start college, then whoever's the financial advisor, they can reach out and say like, hey, because he's going to start college, like these are some education savings options, or you can put like this emergency fund post college if she needs to get a job. If she doesn't get the job, then you can, this could be like an emergency fund that we can use, etc. So this is one feature which is there, which it shows like all the shared assets, who are the dependents on the family, who's the main member of the family, primary earning member, and then what are their financial goals, etc. This is not there in Sales and Service Cloud because it doesn't have that depth of, relationship tracking on with all the assets tagged to it. So this is one feature which is available in FSC and not in Sales and Service. Second one is financial accounts and product management. So similar to what I mentioned earlier, it is what you call, you would have a lot of financial accounts. So like one, of course, would be like your bank accounts. You would have like credit cards. It would be like loans you take out, or investments that you're putting in, insurance policies, mortgages, etc. So this is called ARC, is Actionable Relationship Center, which again is a more complex way of relating all the accounts. You can basically see all of these financial accounts linked to each other and what's the relationship to it. So like you can see over here, and if there are multiple people, again, it is showing that relationship. So for somebody like a financial advisor or an agent, it becomes much easier to know like what all they have, what are the assets and liabilities that they have, who all are involved in it, and like a lot of the other information, how much money in each of these, how much time, etc. So again, in sales and service, because it's a sales and service cloud, it's a CRM tool, they don't offer exactly like financial account management as such. So if at all we were bringing, we'd have to build like these relationships or, the workflows from scratch and the screens for it. So in FSC, this comes out of the box. Now, life events and client goals. Also, client goals actually is coming up another slide, a couple of slides after this. So there's something called life events, and it's very similar to what you have in Health Cloud. I think they're using the same component. So you can have, you can create life events. And I've put two examples over here. The first example on top is a life event from an organization or a company perspective. So you can see, like, see, there was a merger and acquisition, and then there's a new location. Is the next event. There was an executive change. Maybe the CEO changed. Then they did a market listing of their company, and then after that they had to file for bankruptcy. Then they launched a new product. Then there's a new VP who came into picture, and so on. So you can see like these are the life events, and based of these, the advantage of life events is like, again, the financial advisor and agent, he can make educated what you call guidance, or he can make financial plans based off these life events. The bottom example is not of a company but of a person. So, and this is from the Service Cloud financial services cloud backed by service cloud. So you can see like if somebody is coming and they're asking like, let's say a finance agent is talking to them, looking at these life events. So for example, you can see that this person, Julie, her birthday, so she's graduated already. She purchased like her own business, a roastery, and then she's married. So looking at this, the agent can then propose like, hey, since she said married, they'll say like, do you want to prepare for like, some sort of investment or insurance plan for like once you guys have kids, you want to create an emergency or savings fund for, potential so that like during childbirth, etc., any hospital expenses that can get covered. So based on these events, uh, advisors or agents can make like better financial planning. So that is what FSC provides in terms of life events. Again, sales and service, we don't have that kind of life events as such, because the similar thing what we could possibly have is like an opportunity path or a lead path. So we don't have something like life events out of the box, and we'd have to build it custom. Now, action plans is something that again comes out of the box from in financial services cloud. So what this basically does is think about a series of tasks that keep repeating. So like, for example, remember I talked to of opening a bank account. So if somebody is interested to open a bank account, there are a series of steps that they have to follow, right? So for example, step number one would be they have to submit like a form with all the details. Step number two is they have to submit certain documents. Maybe step number three is then like these documents are submitted from the bank to, let's say, a central bank for approval. And then step number four, somebody has to trigger so that there is the debit card that is printed and sent out. So there would be like a series of steps which are common or repetitive each time for each use case. So like when opening a bank account, these are the series of 7 or 8 tasks that would happen. So that's an action plan. So for each use case, for example, opening a bank account, you would have an action plan, which you can see it uses a task object, but it's a series of tasks in a chronological order, which is then repurposed. So you don't have to sit and create each task one by one each time somebody opens like a bank account. So the agent or the advisor or whoever, the bank manager, doesn't have to do that. You can just create a new action plan, and you can select your template or like what's the use case. So like opening a bank account would already have its series of tasks associated with it. And then you can put the due date for it, and you can assign it to. So like all of these actions, for example, filling the form and submitting the documents is on the customer. So like the agent can put himself as the owner so that he can remind the customer from time to time to submit it on time. Submitting to, let's say, maybe like the central bank, that could be the action by the manager, the bank manager. So it could be assigned to that person. Somebody else from another department might be responsible, like for the debit card printing. I'm just giving an example, random example. But that is what basically an action plan is. So you don't have to have your team create each task every single time. You just have to create an action plan. So this is helpful, like let's say client onboarding, financial reviews, KYCs, know your customer, any compliance checks where there's a series of steps that is followed each and every time. It's the same sequence, and it is basically a series of tasks. Then that's your go-to feature. Again, action plan is not there in sales and service. Of course, we can sort of recreate it, but then as you can see, we can use a task object, but it's much more what you call complex, because you have to create like a series of tasks for each type of action plan which is there. Again, FSC has it out of the box, so it just becomes much easier to configure. Now, this one for wealth management features, so basically wealth management is an app that is part of FSC. And so like, for example, you can look at this. This is, I think, a screenshot I took from the demo org. So wealth management comes as an out-of-the-box app itself. And what this basically does is like similar to sales and service. It has its own set of objects and fields. For example, you can see financial accounts, assets, liabilities, financial goals, holdings, securities, etc. So these will help, of course, to track that particular information out of the box. And advisors can use these insights then to provide like tailored financial advice, or they want provide like investment strategies, etc. And financial goals, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So again, sales and service doesn't have these kind of account management tools, or they don't have like specific product management for like loans or mortgage or investments, etc. Oh yeah, one other tool which is there is the compliance. So like I mentioned, financial services, of course, compliance is a main aspect that comes. So for example, you have like certain compliance things like, KYC, know your customer, or AML. So know your customer is a pretty commonly used what do you call compliance process. So in this, what happens is that you will have to like the customers will have to go through like certain verifications and checks, etc., screenings, uh, with third parties, etc. So what I've put the picture, this is Salesforce's KYC data model. And as you can see, like the three lead, contact, and account, and content or your documents are basically your standard objects. Everything else in purple is basically the objects that come from Financial Services Cloud. Here, the key objects are like party profile, as well as assessment and assessment response. So what happens is that you have this data model already in um, FSC, and the relationships between these are established. So it becomes easy just to fine tune it based on like the customer's requirements. And it becomes very easy then like to capture the KYC process information, as well as some of these usually there's a third party involved, like for screening or background checks and stuff like that. It's never the customer themselves. They would be relying on third party. So then it's very easy to capture that information. And when compliance audits come into picture, then all of the required um, compliance guidelines or the in data information is already there in the system. It's captured much more easily. So that again is a brownie point for Financial Services Cloud when you compare like creating this from scratch in sales or service. And I think one of the last points is financial planning and goal tracking. So this is what I was talking when I talked about life events and goals. So there's something called as goal tracking in Financial Services Cloud. So think about like, for example, the financial advisor, the customer, he basically has like two loans that he is currently working on. And maybe there's like one insurance policy that he's taken, which is going to like mature in 2 years, for example, or he's not finished paying the premium. Uh, just give you an example. So what will happen is the financial advisor can then create goals. So what they will do is like they will set up the goal. They would link the financial account, so like which bank account is going to be adding the cash flow to it, and they will also specify contributions. So for example, think about like an EMI. So they will say that, okay, this is the goal is 100K dollars, and they will link it to this particular bank, which is going to from where like per month $1,000 or sorry, let's say $500 is going to get deducted every month as part of the EMI. So he can set it up in this way. So we know the duration, we know what's the amount, we know how much is the monthly contribution, and we know from where exactly the source, like which account it's coming from. So with that, it's very easy, like for a financial advisor to pick up like somebody's profile and see like how many goals this person has, are they completed, so that he can give advice. So like if he sees there are already like two loans and one mortgage in picture, then clearly it's not a good idea to have a loan number three, because again, remember, he can also see like the overall financial picture of how many accounts, like what this person's income is. So then, the financial advisor can help and plan or, make informed decisions. So that is goal tracking, and it's very helpful. So you can see in the picture, for example, he said college fund for Jack is at 61%, and then he was having like an estate planning, which is already done. So with this, it gives like a very visual picture, which is what I was talking about, point number 3 in why top 5 reasons. These are like some of the actionable insights which are there. So whether it is life events or goal tracking or the household profiles or, the ARC, that's the Actionable Relationship Center. All of these are features that come as part of Financial Services Cloud, which gives like these agents or advisors or bank managers very easy way to have like an eagle eye view of the financial capability, limitations of who they're talking to. And also it helps them like to upsell or cross sell because they get the whole picture and they can like provide information as needed, or they can put pitch a cell when they know that there's a possibility of that cell going through, which is pretty much how you empower your agents or your advisors.
So with this, we come to the end of the session. And in order to give a quick summary or basically recap what I've said through the session, Financial Services Cloud is basically Salesforce offering as a specific cloud built for this industry or for financial services. And this cloud is pretty much a very niche cloud, and it has like very inbuilt a lot of features that cater towards your financial business processes as well as that industry in specific, which therefore helps in like elevating advisor, financial advisor, or agent views, and also it helps like capture information in an efficient and like industry required manner. Therefore, what the main challenge that most of these companies face is usually in keeping the compliance for like regulatory processes, and this cloud definitely helps in that aspect because it has its own architecture that helps in capturing information that's needed, as well as a lot many features that help with specific use cases that you commonly find in financial services cloud. So with that, we come to the end of the session, and we hope this was super helpful for you all. If you have any questions or queries in general with regards to this cloud or financial services, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. And do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.